it's Wednesday night, Cop Talk Live, changing cop culture. I'm Dominic Izzo. I'm a retired police officer from up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Welcome. We go live every damn Wednesday night to talk about cop culture and how to change it. Our website is coptalklive.org. Our YouTube channel, Cop Talk Live, Rumble, Spotify, all the good stuff, Cop Talk Live. That's where you can wind up getting a hold of all of our stuff, checking it out and this and that. We do this live on Wednesdays, and we open the phone, 708-982-0974, as you can see if you're watching on there. Sorry, some of you guys, we are live. I know I'm on Instagram. I'll check out you guys, your comments on Instagram. I know you guys can't call in because when it's like you're watching on your phone, you can't, so I appreciate that. But everywhere else, if you guys are watching, or if you're watching what wouldn't be live, it would be the recorded podcast version. Well, welcome. It is what it is. Again, go to Cop Talk Live. Over here's the big view, if you will. It's our website, news articles. You can check this one we put out today of a police officer who's actually removed from duty. I could not fucking believe this story. The guy's actually removed from duty for not using, it was insane. I've never seen this before. Some dumbass police chief who went apeshit crazy in a traffic stop. Obviously the woman who is tased the black guy in cuffs. Listen to me. I want to kind of make this point if you're new to the content, because we've had quite a few thousand people visit the channels in the last couple of weeks. This is pro law enforcement content. It's pro law enforcement. It's not pro cop. It's not pro cop. I support 100% with every fiber of my being the profession of law enforcement, being a professional police officer. I don't support the individual cop. I don't back the blue no matter what. There are times we have scumbags who have a uniform and a badge and the authority to take away your freedom or your life, and they need to be fucking called out and exposed. They need to be criminally prosecuted, sent to federal prison, and all that good shit. We just have a system that's broken, and we need to change it, period. Again, we do this live Wednesdays, 708-982-0974. I will open the phone in a little bit. I want to hear your opinion on this one. This is a topic that's going to kind of ruffle some feathers today. I saw this it's making the rounds. It's a 19-second clip. It's from Trump. I'm going to play the audio. He talked about this during the campaign when he ran for his second term. And one of the things he talked about was immunity for police officers on a federal level, which, there was no clarification after he made this statement, so I'm not pursuing this. But this, I said, somebody asked me about this a while ago and my viewpoints on this particular statement. He said it again, and this is what we're going to talk about tonight.
An executive order directing Attorney General to ensure that anyone who murders a police officer immediately, with as fast a trial as we can have, gets the death penalty.
So the overall general question I get all the time from people is, do I support the death penalty, automatic death penalty for people who kill cops? The answer is 100% no. Absolutely not. And again, there's the number for those of you who can see it, 708-982-0974. I want to get your views on this. And this is my view, rationale, and whatnot on it. Number one, I'm going to pose this statement. Do you truly believe that a police officer's life is more valuable than the citizens they swore an oath to serve and protect? I don't. I don't think, and I'm going to tell you this too, this has always been my career's view. I believe that even the biggest piece of shit on the planet, the George Floyds out there, the people who we had as repeat offenders all the time, I do, and this is my view. This is my view as a citizen, as somebody who served as a cop. I believe that their life is just as valuable as mine. A couple different things, right? Here's why. Number one, it's a faith level. Yeah, I am somebody who follows Christ, and for the shit I've done and the sinner that I am, there's no fucking way that I'm better than George Floyd was. I'm just not. And this is in the eyes of my Lord and Savior. It is what it is, right? I'm not forcing that down your throat. That's a standard right there that I set on a personal level. You can agree with me, disagree with me. I really don't give a shit. But when it comes down to them being a public servant and going into the realm of upholding the Constitution, you're going to sit there and swear that oath to the Constitution, serve the people, this and that. No, your life is not more valuable than those you serve. It's just not. Today's offender's tomorrow's victim, and vice versa. And you still under the oath you swore, have an obligation to serve that person the same way, of the same level of excellence. If George Floyd was alive today, and I don't care how many of you people sat there, well, he held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. When it comes his turn, if somebody pointed a gun at George Floyd, your police still are obliged, they're obligated by the oath they swore to give him, if he was alive, the same level of excellent service that they would you or anybody else. And if that doesn't compute with you, if that doesn't sit there and you think you're better than somebody else, and then you're the problem with America. This boot licking, back the blue no matter what, fuck around and find out crowd, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You guys are the cancer of America and why cops are so fucked up. And trust me, cops have the toughest job in America right now. Not the hardest, the toughest. You know, they've got to sit there and appease the oath they swore to, the Constitution, the laws, the department policies, the citizens, right? Because they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Half the fucking time cop does something, they're like, yeah, applauded. While the other half is going, oh, we need to crucify all cops. And then you switch it on another side too. They are walking a high wire with like, that's greased over with slip-soled shoes, and while they're trying to juggle eggs at the same time. That is what a patrol officer, a frontline warrior, a first responder's job is. I don't care if anybody was like, no, it's really not that difficult. Yes, it fucking is. Yes, it is. And they have to sit there, all operate within the confines of their own humanity, right? They're the ones who have to sit there, and they may not like George Floyd or anybody else who's compared to him. And they show up on scene. Guess what? They got to do the fucking job exactly how they said they would. And the problem is that we do have a broken system. We have district and state's attorneys who refuse to prosecute. They are the scumbag problems. Judges who, release these people out in the street. The recidivism rate is insane. And the cop is the one who takes the blame because they're not doing their job in the first place, apparently, right? So then that becomes the arbitrary hangman of the public. The public wants to see more boots on necks. They want to see more people shot and killed by the police, and they want to applaud that behavior. They want to see that, and they are putting themselves in a position of class separation. So number one, in a long-winded type of modality, no, I do not believe that cops should be elevated higher than a citizen status, even though you hear me say all the time, I believe they're superior human beings. Doesn't mean they should receive higher treatment under the code of the law or care of the law when it comes to that. So I completely disagree with Trump on that. And I want to here's my exhibit A for that, right? This is my exhibit A. Some of you guys remember this. This was a fireworks complaint, Riverside County Sheriff. I want to ask you, so remember, under Trump and under your 100%. Anybody automatically who kills a cop should get the automatic death penalty, right? I want to play this and have a discussion off of this for a second. I did a very lengthy breakdown of this, but for those who do not recall, this was a fireworks complaint. So the deputy responded to, I believe, a call. It was a call for service. He didn't observe this. There was no observation by the deputy that any fireworks were shot off on the 4th of July. He was in the area. He rang on the doorbell of the house where the complaint was received. Nobody answered. He stood back in the shadows for a minute or two. Some kids, some teens, somebody in the home who was a minor in the home opened the door, peered out, and as they peered out, the deputy then advanced forward and put his boot in the door, preventing the door from being shut, and then forced his way in. So here's what we have. For those of you who think that you need to back the blue no matter what, and that if someone kills a police officer, they automatically receive the death penalty. Well, this is a police officer. This is a police officer who just is about to violate somebody's constitutional rights. I'm going to play this for a minute. This is from Lackluster, by the way. I did have him on as a podcast guest. What a great damn guy. Make sure you're following his YouTube channel. But I'm going to play this and we'll have a discussion.
I'm telling you,
this is my home.
that now that I'm inside your house, I own your house right now.
You do not.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, rare that you get a video like this, but had to put this one out today. So, you get a double feature. I saw a video this morning that made me sick to my stomach. After seeing the video, I immediately started looking for the homeowner. Fortunately, she was looking for me as well and sent me this video.
So those can't read. It says sheriff deputy called by next door Darren, whatever it is, Darren Care for a loudness complaint. There was no noise coming from the home. The deputy later confirmed he heard no noise at the time as he pulled up and he came to the door. So number one, it's a call for service. There's no probable cause or reasonable suspicion that a crime was committed. He's wandering outside for a bit. This is shit we did all the time. You know, it was when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Yeah, you do look for crime and you do take the evidence that is presented to you and you try to manipulate, manufacture, create the narrative that a crime was committed. It's the totality of the circumstances, the elements of the offense. If you have the elements of the, you got a crime, man. Handcuffs on, that's a stat for you. Yay. Command staff is happy you were busy.
Oh my God. You can.
Okay, then back the f***
I'm
out of
not
my
gonna
house.
back up.
You do not have a right to be inside my
I'm
house.
not gonna
I will
back
talk
up.
to you outside.
Back up and talk to her outside.
No.
You don't have a warrant. No, don't talk to them.
You
You,
don't have
do
to
not
warrant.
have
Let
a
me tell
warrant
you-
to be inside. I will talk to you outside.
You want?
Officer, I will talk
I
to
am
you.
not going to step outside your house.
You do not have a
We're
warrant
gonna
to be
talk
inside
right
of my house.
I'm not inside your house. Okay.
You're inside of my house.
Let me tell you why I'm right here.
Because you walked in.
No, because they opened the door and ran from me.
And
That's
I'm
why.
telling you, I am the
Okay,
adult
and I'm
here.
telling
This
you
is my home.
that now that I'm inside your house, I own your house
No,
right
you
now.
do not.
Yes, I do.
No.
Yes, for the record, I've said that. I have said that numerous times. You go to domestics and you got some guy piping up his fucking lungs and you're in there and whatever. Get the fuck out of my house. This is my house, motherfucker. I own this until my investigation's over. Yep, I've said that numerous times. Is what it is. So I'll own up to my shit.
Yes, I do. What I
know my
okay,
rights.
I don't care if you know your rights.
And I'm telling you, my
So-
dog will bite you if I tell her to bite you.
Tell
So
your
I'm
dog to
asking
bite
you to back
Tell
up.
your dog to bite
and
you.
I will talk to you outside.
I'm not going to talk to you
What
outside.
the f*** do you want? What the f*** do you want inside my house? Bring your f***ing supervisor to my home now. Yeah, bring them all.
We'll turn
You
the
have
music
no
down. Can you
right
leave
to
us
be
alone?
inside. No, don't f***ing talk to them.
Please. We'll
You
turn
have
the
no
music
right
down.
to be inside because they opened the door. They're minors. I'm the adult here. This is my home.
She said she's the adult.
She's not the f***ing, she's my daughter. Get the f*** out of my
I'm
home.
not going to get out of your house.
Then call your f***ing supervisor right f***ing now.
So let me ask you a question before we continue here. Some of you you believe, you fly that blue line flag and you clap your hands, man, anytime you see anything that a cop does in a good way, which you should. But if you're going to support the concept, and I told you it's going to piss a lot of you off. Okay, I'm all about excellence as the standard for the profession. But you support, let's just say for argument's sakes, I will back your support that anyone who kills a police officer gets the immediate death penalty upon the conviction of their charge. If we do the same, and anytime a police officer is convicted of violating someone's constitutional rights, upon their conviction, we issue them the same death penalty. Are you willing to do that trade-off? See, last time I checked, we operate in this country that our constitutional rights are granted us by our creator, God-given rights. Government cannot take them away. So when you have, and this I believe is the bigger willing threat, 90% of what I see with these disgusting, nauseous police officer murders, meaning when the cops are killed, they are in the heat of the moment. They're not thought out, right? There's no intent behind it other than the fight or flight kicks in and you get shitbag criminals who do this. When you're a cop and you willfully state that you're going to honor your oath to the Constitution, uphold the laws of the state, the county, the municipality that you're in, and then you know the laws, you know the elements of the offense, you know the totality of the circumstances, and you still willingly violate someone's rights, I think that's just as egregious as fucking the heat of the moment killing a police officer, because you're making the choice to, and you're someone who's in a greater position of authority. I mean, how many times do we hear, guys who are in handcuffs, take these handcuffs off me, take your shit off and let's go. Well, we know damn well that if we took your cuffs off and we took our shit off, you'd back down, because there's that error and there's that sense of, all right, he's just going to call his boys. There's going to be 5 others on top of me. You're already automatically lost in the confrontation because you know you're stacked up against something that for right now is superior in their level of force that's able to use against you. So my question is this. You guys are all for against, and I'm just making an argument in this. I'm not condoning this. But if you want to support arbitrarily a person getting the death penalty if they kill a police officer, and this is your home. Now, picture you're men out there. You're sleeping, it's nighttime, and you're woken up by your wife yelling at someone in the door who will not leave your home. And then this continues.
415 noise.
And put me in the fucking ground. I fucking double dog
Boy,
dare
I didn't
you.
touch me.
This is my home,
I didn't touch
bro.
you.
You're in my house.
I am telling
You're
you.
in my house. Don't do that. You're in my. I didn't touch you. Her. Did I touch you? Did I touch you?
No, stop. You can't do anything.
Did I touch you?
You're just gonna make it worse.
Did I ever touch you? I did not fucking touch you, bro.
Step away.
I didn't fucking touch you.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
This is Riverside County Sheriff, and I've done content on this before, and I honestly think this cop should be fired. He should be brought up on criminal charges on a federal level. I'm not kidding. This is my legitimate stance on this, because apparently it's now 2025, and I believe this happened in 2024. We have professionals who do not know how far they could take the law, and they willingly violate someone's constitutional rights. This cop had no authority, no lawful, no legal, no righteous authority to enter in someone's home. If you did this, your next door neighbor has a noise complaint, you go over next door and the teen opens the door and you step your foot in there and you're waiting, right? You're standing in the doorway and you're folding your arms like a Karen and you're waiting for the cops to be called because you're going to solve it that way. Do you know that if the homeowner wishes to file a complaint for home invasion, a Class X felony, at least up here in the state of Illinois, because you forced your way into a residence knowing people were there? Dude. Home invasion, Class X, unlawful detainment because you're not letting them leave. I'm going to say at the very least, disorderly conduct because you're alarming and disturbing them. Maybe assault because they're in reasonable apprehension of receiving a battery. I'm going to charge you with every fucking thing possible, but a cop can do it. Now, if I do that to my neighbor and my neighbor's wife is at the door and my neighbor wakes up and he just hears some ruckus going on and he comes to the door and he just double barrel blasts me in the chest with a shotgun and I die, is that the neighbor's fault? Fuck no, it's mine. But when the police do it, it's okay. So still, you want that death penalty for police officers, for anybody who kills a police officer. What if the teen in this video knew his constitutional rights? What if he knew the law? What if everything was documented, door cam, which we saw it, cell phone video, which we saw it, and the deputy had no lawful authority to enter in the home, and that citizen shot and killed the deputy? Lawfully, I would stand by it. I would be 100% okay with it. Well, you killed a cop who knowingly violated the Constitution, broke the law, and dishonored his oath. So does that mean that we should kill the person who was defending their home against domestic tyranny? This is why I can't stand this, is because not for nothing. Listen, we do have some shitbag cops out there. All the hate I get in the world, right? From all the ex-cops and current cops who can't fucking stand me. So you know, they all base it on my character, not my ability to fucking do the job. So just because you don't like me, if I was still employed and I got shot and killed on duty, you motherfuckers would be celebrating. You wouldn't be, oh no, we got to kill, he's a brother in blue. No, you wouldn't. It's all dependent upon the individual. All these cops out there today who are doing this shit on TikTok, you're going to tell me that they have the best interest from the public in mind when they do their job? See, what you're setting the standard when you're supporting Trump or anybody else who tries to introduce in legislature to say that we need to arbitrarily charge, convict, and then follow through with execution on anybody who kills a cop. You're saying that every single cop in America meets or surpasses the standard of excellence, not only as a human being, but as a member of the public. G.I. Joe Glenowitz out here in Illinois, 2015. I just did a very long breakdown of the reality of what that case was. Everybody worshiped him. But then allegedly he was a criminal. He was a scumbag. He was extortionist. He was robbing from the city. He was planting cocaine, blah, blah, blah. So if back then, 2015, September 1st, 2015, we all thought hero cop has gone down. But then this investigation brings to light some real heavy shit that apparently he was into. If that was today, how many cops who are murdered can we sit there and say, yeah, these are really good human beings? You're still a human being when you're a cop. How many cops actually make up probable cause when they pull somebody over or they arrest them? How many cops lie on fucking reports? How many cops are fucking scumbags? How many cops abuse their badge and authority? So I refuse to get behind it because I'm all for supporting law enforcement. I'm not for supporting the individual police officer. I'm not. I just can't do it, dude. I won't do it. 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Got some people calling. We'll get you guys in a second. I want to go to this article that I pulled up that's in relation to it. This is from City Journal, city-journal.org, from a couple days ago, March 7th, 2025. Cop killers deserve the death penalty. Murders of police officers are on the rise, but states have failed to hold perpetrators accountable. Only 9 weeks into 2025, and the National Law Enforcement Memorial in Washington, D.C. has another 9 names added to the list of murdered in the line of duty. That includes Border Patrol agent Christopher Mayland, shot to death by a member of the transgender vegan cult during a traffic stop in Vermont. The cult's members had a documented grudge against law enforcement. Since the George Floyd unrest of 2020, and I want to take time on that. Anybody who's known any of the stuff that I've done, my view, and I've said this a million times, the pulse, the shift of support for law enforcement when we first saw what happened to George Floyd, you almost had a 99.9% condemnation for law enforcement the day we saw it happen. Then you fast forward a year later, it was 100% support because George Floyd's criminal history came out, which is the problem in America. People operate on emotions, not facts or logic. So the argument will always be that a criminal who was a dredge in society he was killed by his own hand by drug-induced toxicology. So said the report, right? Not the fact that here we had Derek Chauvin, who had a documented history of kneeling on black handcuffed men as if they were trophies that he shot on safari in the Serengeti. I think that Derek Chauvin is a fucking vile, disgusting human being, and I would love for him to get pardoned just to release so he can get some shit criminal justice done to him by society. I think that he is the worst representative of law enforcement in the history of the profession because he violated the 8th Amendment. Cruel and unusual punishment. The motherfucker knelt. Didn't matter where he knelt. It's the perception. If Chauvin stood above, this is my view. Chauvin's kneeling on the person of George Floyd is no different than Chauvin hovering over him, looking at him, and calling him a filthy, useless scumbag nigger. There's no difference in my view. Both show the disdain that Chauvin had for one person simply because Chauvin was in a position of authority to do what he did. And that's all that fucking took. He did it. That's it. Period. So when anytime some references George Floyd, I don't get behind that at all. More than 350 officers have been killed in the line of duty by physical assault, gunfire, vehicular assault, or during vehicle pursuits, according to the Officer Down memorial page that makes up for cop killing every 5 days. I need to say this too. I can't recall her name. There is an Instagram influencer, and she's an ex-cop, and she put up a great damn post, and I reached out to her last year to get her on a podcast. I got to do it again. And she pointed out how the Blue Brotherhood is like only there for funerals. And you will see cops hate each other. Cop dies in the line of duty. The funeral comes up. Everybody fucking loves each other. Everybody loves each other. Oh my God. They're all wearing the black fucking band over the badge, and they're all just crying and this and that. And they're all just, we're all under attack. They leverage the death of a cop for their own agenda. Haley Mirabelli. And they just move forward with the tragedy for their own accord. But when it comes time to actually honoring each other while everyone's fucking alive, doing the job, retired or whatnot, everybody hates each other. It's crab in the bucket. That makes for cop killing every 5 days. FBI data shows that the period from 2021 through 2023 saw the most felonious killings of law enforcement of any 3-year stretch for more than 2 decades. Excuse me. And nearly 80,000 police officers were assaulted in 2023, up 61% from 10 years before. A third of those suffered injuries requiring medical care. Here's my thought with that. There is an increase on the rise of injury and death to police officers because criminals are becoming more brazen, and they're becoming more just bold, and that should set off an alarming, kind of mindset for the American public that, oh my God, the American police officer's under attack. Or is it possible that we hire subpar candidates who spend all their time on TikTok trying to do lipstick tutorials and lip sync dancing and come get ready for work with me shit, and they don't have tactics, putting themselves at a greater level of risk to get injured or killed? I think it's that one. I think it's just we have shitty cops in the street who can't fucking fight their way out of a wet paper bag, and they get their asses kicked or they get killed. I think, personally, that's what I think. A disturbing trend emerges from these incidents. Cop killings are fueled by anti-police sentiment. Are they? And I'm not defending criminals. I'm defending the Constitution. I'm defending due process. I'm defending facts, evidence. Let me give you the background to the standard of why I think that we should, but we don't hold ourselves to a higher standard. But then victimology like this just chaps my ass. You know, you get all these people, oh, cops are under attack, Black Lives Matter, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. What do we want? Dead cops. Yeah, we have some people who hate fucking cops. We do. We have criminals who don't get prosecuted. But we also have cops who blatantly violate use of force policies, and nothing happens to them. Nothing. We have cops who violate constitutional rights. Nothing fucking happens to them. Oh, I did the podcast yesterday, live, talking about Lieutenant or Captain Carl Anderson, and how he was forced out for allegedly creating a hostile work environment. One of the cops who was in that complaint against him had three vehicle crashes in a squad car within a 24-month period. So the guy damages how many thousands and tens of thousands, maybe $100,000 worth of police vehicles? Nothing fucking happens. So the hypocrisy when it comes down to police investigation kills me. Absolutely kills me. But the standard, I recall being in the academy, 2001, Police Training Institute, Champaign-Urbana, University of Illinois. And we said all the time, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. Do we? We hold ourselves to a higher standard? I have seen more standards held high in the fitness and sales industry than I've ever seen in law enforcement. You know, last year was the year of Wes Watson and Andy Elliott. And what did Andy Elliott do, right? You can't work on his team unless you have a six-pack. And you got all these fucking soy people who are like, oh, that's fucking cruel. No, it's called a standard. It's a standard. Andy Elliott will fire you if he finds out you cheated on your wife. It's a fucking standard. Everyone's making fun of him. Why? Because he wants personal excellence and self-respect translating into his sales. Holy shit, Wes Watson. Oh, he's a fucking blowhard. The guy is all about personal fucking excellence. And of course he gets hate up the roof and all this shit and blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you, when I saw it in real example, I was actually embarrassed. Fucking embarrassed. When I went to First Form, I was on Andy Frisella's podcast, August of 2022. And they gave me a tour of the First Form facility, right? DJ's walking me around, and we go into the gym area, and the gym area is gorgeous, this and that, and they've got the weight tree. You know, the weight tree where you got the 10s, the 5s, 10s, 25s, 35s, 45s, and they've got, like, you know, when I was younger, it was the York plates. I don't know what they are now, American Standard or whatever. You've got American on one and Standard on the other. Well, they've got First and Form on the plates. And when you put them back up on the tree, it has to be at a perfect 12 o'clock position. First, then Form. And everyone has to be lined up perfectly when you put them back. And DJ said, failure to do so is a fireable offense. And I went, motherfucker. These guys they don't have janitors there. They have employees who on their downtime vacuum the floor around their desks. What? Standards. And I was embarrassed. And I told Andy and his friggin' staff, I have never seen an organization in my life, including law enforcement or any state police agency, who has a level of standards as this. We don't have them in law enforcement. We just don't. Just pigs and self-protected poor me. The war on cops is really affecting me. Too many state governments are failing to take corrective action. Congress should step in. President Trump proposed in his address to Congress on Tuesday, this was a couple weeks ago, by making the killing of police officers eligible for the federal death penalty. Anti-police animus has motivated officer killings for years. I don't agree with that. I think that if there is an anti-police emotional state among the people, it's because people are fucking fed up of cops not doing their job the right way, violating civil rights, getting away with shit. I watched video and I've done critique. I guess there's an investigation. I'll have to get more information on. Phoenix police in Arizona has like 5 excessive use of force issues over the last several months or whatever that are just egregious. And I watched one where cops actually were shot at while on duty in their squad cars, pursued this guy in some restaurant or something. Guy had no weapon on him. They go to handcuff him and they're beating the shit out of him with a pistol. It's like, that's excessive. Put him in fucking cuffs, control your emotions. Do you ever think that maybe people are tired of cops being unable to control their emotions and getting away with it and just being said, we have to humanize the badge, when they treat people like fucking cattle and citation issue numbers for their quotas and their performance evaluations? Maybe, just maybe, if cops start treating humans and citizens like the humans they are, they humanize them, maybe some humanizing the badge would be thrown their way. Months after the police involved deaths of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and Eric Gardner in New York, 28-year-old armed Maryland man traveled to New York City, invoking Brown and Gardner's death, vowing, I'm putting pigs on wings today. They take one of ours, let's take 2 of theirs. He did assassinate New York police officers Rafael Ramos and Weijian Liu at point-blank range as they sat in their patrol cars. Perpetrator had at least 19 prior arrests and recent convictions for illegal gun possessions. And the list is going to go on. I'm not going to belittle anyone's death. I'm going to belittle the sentiment behind it. If I died tomorrow, I'm going to tell you flat out, I'm not a good man. I'm just not. I'm not a nice man. I'm a kind man, but I'm not a nice man. I'm not a good man. But if I were wearing that uniform and if no one knew, because everything I talk about now has always been internalized with me. Everything I've said, go look at my content. Go check it out. So is it just because I was a police officer and I had a badge and I had a uniform, and I was sponsored by an agency to get paid and uphold the Constitution and laws. And if I died in the line of duty and was ambushed and killed, and you would cry for me, you're fucking stupid if you would. Stupid. You don't know my character. You don't know what I'm like. You don't know the shit that I've done. But just because it's paint. It's paint over a piece of shit house that we just give the free pass to. I don't agree with that. I just don't. Last month, an NYPD detective serving a warrant was shot and wounded by a career criminal on patrol. Unsurprisingly, the parolee had been arrested 4 months earlier for criminal possession of stolen property. For repeat felon on parole, such an action might result in incarceration, but not under Manhattan's progressive DA, Alvin Bragg, who reduced the charges to misdemeanor and resisting arrest. Well, maybe you want to get angry at them instead of the criminals. Even when cop killers get life behind bars, the sentence doesn't stick. In New York State alone, at least 43 inmates sentenced for killing cops have been released since 2017. Less progressive states have been similar lenient. I understand it. And this is, here's my view. Because it's got to be fair. And sadly, it's not when it comes to the cops. Because how many times does a police officer do something that if you or I did as citizens, we would be arrested for? This is where integrity and that raising of standards has to come into play, right? I would take just the same way. This is the exact same way. Some of you saw the interview I did with Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Yeah, and he pulls up these statistics and says X amount of people who are black were pulled over by cops. X amount of people who were white were pulled over by cops. And it turns out the white people had more contraband than this and that. And it was all the statistics. And this is, anybody who's ever going to argue statistics, I want to tell you exactly how to do it. If somebody says, well, out of 100 stops, X amount of people were black, X amount of people were white, and X amount of white people had more crime, and this and that, blah, blah, you need to ask for the totality of those statistics. Okay. Were these all traffic stops? No. Were these all self-initiated stops by the police? No. Were these respondent calls for service? No. Okay, so we have a mixture. Convoluted right there for it. Were these all in the daytime? No. Okay. You're convoluting, or you're watering it down even more, right? Diluting it even more. Were these at night? Let's say the ones at night specifically. Were these traffic stops? Yeah, they were. Okay. Can you see through the rear windshield or front windshield or side windshield on night shift the color of a driver when they're driving by? No. You see where I'm going with this? They never talk about the totality of the circumstances when it comes down to spewing bullshit statistics. They never do. They never say, well, you got 5 black guys were arrested and 5 white guys, and the 5 black guys were searched, but the white guys weren't searched. Why? Did you ever stop to ask which ones knew they could say no to the officer because it was a consent search? Was it a consent search? Or here's what they don't do either. 5 black guys get stopped and 5 black guys get searched and they find drugs, contraband on them. 5 white guys get stopped. 5 white guys don't get searched and no drugs or contraband is found on them. Okay, hey, the 5 who got searched, was that search done as a consent search or pursuant to an arrest? Oh. They never, ever, ever talk about the fucking circumstances for a search or any type of things on that goes. So I want to take that same thing and apply it to the cop. Death penalty. Death penalty for everybody who kills a cop. Okay, let's talk about that cop. So they were a cop, right? Yeah. Good. How long were they on? 20 years. How many complaints did they have against them? 15. Okay. Were they active on duty? No, they barely responded to calls, this and that stuff. Were they fit? How many grievances a year did they file? Were they a pain in the ass? Their coworkers respect them, all this shit. But again, just because they wear blue and they have a badge, we have to give the death penalty to anybody who kills them. I'm not supporting it. Understand that. I'm just saying it's not fair. It's not fair that just because someone puts on a pair of fucking pants that are blue, a shirt that's blue, they wear a mollied up fucking vest that makes them look like they spent 2-3 years in Iraq when 90% of what they do is parking complaints and traffic citation issuances doesn't mean their life is more valuable than someone else's. It's not. Sure as shit, it wasn't. My life was not more valuable than anyone else when I was a cop, and it's sure as shit not more fucking valuable as I'm on now. I got to get to some of your guys' calls, man. It's been a while here. Hang on a second. 707. Calling you back. Guys, 708-982-0974. You got something you got to say. Wednesday, we take your calls.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live. Sorry, I didn't get to you earlier. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. What do you call it? I love your show. Seen you for a while, for past statements and stuff like that. I do agree with you that I disagree with Trump putting law enforcement full immunity because that's a totally bad idea, I think.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because there is already laws in the books, as you know, is DeShaney, I think DeShaney versus Winnebago, Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, and another one, DC versus Lawrence, clearly states the state and the police have no constitutional obligation to protect an individual.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead with that.
Huh?
Continue with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so those are three important cases that people recommend that looking at, all based on also from Castle Rock versus Gonzalez saying, police have no obligation or authority to protect an individual. You could hear the most recent case that happened a while ago, and I think in New York City, there was a guy, I forgot this case, but there was a mass stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
The guy got stabbed in the face a couple times, and there's two officers there. And they saw the individual got attacked. They didn't do anything to stop it. As soon as the attacker stopped attacking the individual, the police came in and arrested dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he sued NYPD, and the judge and the prosecutor dropped the case, saying, citing Castle Rock versus Gonzalez.
Go ahead.
Is a very, very well-known case that police already has qualified immunity and all that stuff. And on top of that, and if we pull full grant immunity, it just makes the situation worse for putting police accountability on the books.
I'm going to play a video. You can't see it, but you can hear it. And I'm going to play it, and we'll talk about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Biscayne brouhaha, smack in front of a City of Miami cop and in the middle of a Sunday evening in the heart of the city. Surveillance video shows a gang of angry bicyclists going berserk, pummeling a man, breaking his car window, jumping and stomping on his roof and hood, and using a bike to punctuate the vicious broad daylight beatdown, all as a cop sits in her car with a front row seat. Here's what came first. A man pulls up in the intersection of Biscayne and 14th Street, between the Arst Center and James L. Knight Concert Hall. It's where people come to take in a show, an important cultural corner. But a show of a different kind happened here, starring violent bikers, initially arguing with a driver, who approaches the officer parked in her cruiser, then heading back to his vehicle, and then the madness. Riders swarm, kicking, punching, stomping, window breaking, bike hurling, and more, while the officer stayed in her cruiser the entire time until other cops rushed in, tackling one rider before they all appear to pedal off.
On bicycles, throwing punches, wreaking havoc.
Felt the one punch. The bike attacks have been a common problem since before.
So here we have got a bunch of kids beating the shit out of a bicyclist while a cop is just sitting there doing nothing. She's probably filming a TikTok video. And did she have a constitutional obligation to serve or defend that man, you think?
Supreme Court ruling Castle Rock versus Gonzalez.
So if that's
It
the case,
happened-
that's the case. I'm going to go with you on that. This is an update for that. An officer was suspended after a video showed her sitting in her cruiser while bicyclists beat up a man right in front of her. So her department suspended her. Could she argue? Because this is a question I would have for people, right? It's
also a similar situation happened with the.
Well,
sheriff.
I want to stick with this for a second. This is a question.
Okay.
And you know, maybe the audience can kind of listen to this one too. So what are we saying here? Are we saying that A, she sat in her cruiser because her defense is, I have no obligation to defend you as a citizen according to this judicial ruling, or B, I'm a female. There's 20 of them. There's one of me. Or C, I was afraid for my safety and I couldn't use the proper force necessary. So if I put myself in the harm way, I was going to likely receive a battery, death, or something else. What's the answer for that? Guy gets the shit beat out of him by a bunch of teens, hit with a bike. That could be justified as deadly force. She could have gotten out of the cruiser and she could have put rounds into somebody to terminate that life-threatening behavior, and she didn't. Should she be protected by her command staff who suspended her for failing to act?
The thing is, it's all the above. That's the sad part of this broken system, like you're talking about. It's all the above.
Yeah.
If you look at this, it's Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. You probably heard it a while ago. A woman asked the police department in Castle Rock, I think it's in Colorado, hey, her ex-husband took the kids. The police didn't do anything. They just checked, and the guy and the ex-husband came to a police station, had a shootout with the cops, and they killed him. But they found all her children dead.
Were the police held liable?
No, because she sued them, and they said, well, they did their job. They're not liable.
Doesn't it seem? And I don't know your position. I'm not putting words in your mouth. It seems cops are so fucking well protected all the way around.
Well, it kind of is right now. Like I live in California, right? So I mix. I don't back the blue unless they back you, right? That's the thing. Here in California, there's a lot of police corruption. I'm gonna say it. There's a lot. We have a cartel problem. CBS actually did a reporting, you could check, that police officers here, you know, we have a very strict gun regulations, are taking those same guns they're supposed to be restricted, are selling back to the cartels.
Wow. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. And we can't do nothing about it. Either they uphold the law, but at the same time they're breaking it.
I get it. I get it. I appreciate your views. You make some good points, and I got to take some other calls, but I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I recommend the viewers, if people say we have to back the blue, look at DeShaney versus Winnebago, DC versus Warren, and Castle Rock versus Gonzalez.
Could you do me a favor? Could you email me those? Cop Talk Live 911 at gmail.com. Cop Talk Live 911 at gmail.com. I'd like to take a look at those. I've never reviewed them.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I got to take some other calls.
Problem.
Thanks so much. James Bowden over on on Instagram. James, don't comment and make sense. I hate when people do that. I don't think it matters. If it's a cop watching or some another standard, morally, you have to do something, help someone who's being attacked. Yeah. What does that tell you? You make sense. I don't think any one of us would sit by for that kind of crap, but that's where we are at the world today. Let's see. 314. Let me get to you. Guys, if you have something to say, go ahead and send a text to 708-982-0974, and I will call you accordingly.
Your call has been
314, I tried to give you a call. All right, moving on next. 863, giving you a call.
Hello?
Hi, you're live. What's going on?
Oh, I was just texting because I watch your show and agree with you, and was just texting to let you know how it is down here.
How is it down there? I saw your text, but I didn't have my cheaters on to read it. What'd you say?
Oh, well, I work down in Polk County, not for the sheriff down here, but, at a local agency. And,
Do you approve? Are you a supporter of Grady Judd?
I'm not.
Why not? Everybody loves him down there.
Oh, yeah, well, everybody doesn't. I have my opinion, he does some things that I question, and I think people should question it.
I agree. Is it? I don't know. I've never really looked into it. There's so many people accusing that a majority of the deputies there do not wear body cameras.
Well, okay, so Polk County does not have body cameras, in-car cameras. They have nothing.
I've seen reports in the news that some do, though.
Oh, they don't.
Okay.
There's none. Not that I have seen personally. I've never seen an officer wear them, and you talk to many officers that work down there, and nobody has them. So it's something, I've been asked my, entire time because I grew up down here. They said, why don't you apply down there and go? And I said, I get a funny feeling about it. I have something, it's a weird feeling. I don't want to go there.
Makes sense. So anyways, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You were saying?
Oh, I'm just, family has always told me to, you should apply there. You should apply. And I have a weird feeling about it. That's not a place I want to go.
I appreciate that. No, I mean, thanks for the call. It's a
mad
world, and I appreciate you. All right, guys, I'm going to take your calls in the order I'm receiving this stuff. I don't get why. Let's see, 805 giving you a call. Guys, I would love to read your text, but I can't. I'm 50 years old. I got cheaters, and I just don't have them on. We do this every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We talk about changing cop culture together.
Hello?
Hi, I got your text, but I thought I'd call instead. You're live. Would you like to talk about what you wrote?
Sure. When you were talking about the female officer sitting in the car,
yeah,
I was thinking to myself, like, how is she afraid to get out? Which is probably maybe okay, but then again, she's an officer. So if she goes through all that training, then that's
all that training. What training? Wait, what training do you think there is? All that training. What training?
Well, I mean, she has to be assertive in a situation like that. I mean, she does have a gun. She is the police, so there's some authority there.
There's lawful requirements and circumstances where you could use that gun.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure if she's sitting in the car, I figured maybe she, call for backup or something.
You actually make a valid point about why females shouldn't be street cops. Because I'm 5'7", I'm not thin, but I'm heavy. I'm 227 pounds. And if I get out of a squad car based on how I present myself, people are going to fucking think twice. So what you're saying is, ooh, she could have gotten out of the car and shown her gun. Automatically, her gender and her weakness dictates she has to escalate force.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And I agree with you. When I thought about it, I was like, yeah, well, if a female really can't protect herself, then yeah, she shouldn't be on the street.
No.
That makes a lot of sense.
No,
yeah.
It's horrible. No. Absolutely horrible.
And I don't understand that. So it's kind of hard. And then it's just her in the car. So she doesn't have a partner, which is she patrolling that area? Was she just taking a break? What is her job? If she is, if she's supposed to, protect and serve, what is she protecting and who is she serving?
I don't know.
Who is this for?
I just don't know. But you're 100% right. So you get zero argument out of me.
Okay, that's all
I appreciate that. Thanks. Thank you so much.
I wanted my autograph picture, sir.
You want an autograph picture?
Yes. I would love one. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
And I love your show. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, 708-982-0974.
Hello, Mr. Dominic.
Got to call you back. 240. I know you left a voicemail, but we'll call you anyways.
Hello.
Hey, I know you left a voicemail, but we're still live, so I thought I'd call you anyways.
Perfect. How's you doing this evening?
Good. What's going on? What can I do for you?
Not much. I saw the call about the bettering cop culture, and I had something that I wanted to contribute to the conversation.
Listening. Lay it on us.
Perfect. What I think is interesting is when people talk about ambushes, they're talking about the context of these, tragic, high-octane, senseless murders like that of Darian Jarrett. Have you seen that story?
No, I haven't. Go ahead. Can you explain that? Or do you give us a brief description?
Yes, a brief description. Darian Jarrett, that was the name of the officer. He was pulling over someone in I believe it was Nevada or New Mexico, a place where there was a lot of drug trafficking, things like that. He was catching someone going across the border. He was trying to be like the nice cop. He said, I know this person has a gun. It was supposed to be a felony stop. He knew the man was a felon, but he tried to be the nice guy, turned around, said, hey, I know you have a gun. Let me just retrieve it for my own personal safety. The man turns around, shoots him 3 times, and the video even had to blur it out because it was awful. So I get it when people talk about these ambushes, they are in the context of these, tragic, high octane things. And I think that's why there's so much fervor when it comes to the whole back to blue mentality.
I agree. And that, but sadly, the percentage of those, well, no, I'll say this. It's 100% tragic when it happens. 100% tragic.
Yep.
I have to wonder what was in my mind, that's just, I don't care. Like, I'll give you an example. A lot of people sit there and they bitch and moan about why do cops shoot someone and then put them in handcuffs afterwards? And my first thought is because you don't know whether or not the guy's fucking playing possum or not, right? I'm not taking chances. You're just going to put him in cuffs. Then you go ahead and triage the circumstance. I can't imagine felony stop. I don't care if I know you. I don't care if you're a super nice guy in the world. You got a gun? Fuck you. Hands. And you're getting drawn down on. It's a felony stop. So at what point do we sit there and it's okay, in my opinion, to look at the cop and, the deceased cop and go, man, were you stupid with your tactics? You caused, or you had an attributing factor in your own murder. But we don't do that. We don't do that.
Yeah, and I had this conversation with another officer in the context of a different scenario. It was the Lieutenant Karan Nazario. Did you see that footage by chance?
That's familiar. Explain that one again, please.
It was happened a couple of years ago. The Army lieutenant, he just got a brand new car, didn't have the license plate in the back window. The officers performed a felony stop. Lieutenant didn't really know what was going on. He stuck his hands out the window and was kind of doing the whole TikTok thing, was recording his whole interaction because he pulled over into a gas station as opposed to pulling over immediately and ended up getting pepper sprayed, yanked out of the car. They kind of read him the riot act, and then the lieutenant turned around and sued. It was in the state of Virginia, actually sued the police department and won in part because it ended up going from a felony stop because he didn't pull over immediately in a misdemeanor traffic violation to they ended up searching for his firearm, which was not a part of the
it was not,
part of the stop.
No, correct. It's fruit of the poisonous tree if they find it. 100% man. It's like that's a problem I have. Is you get the bootlicking crowd that doesn't understand the totality of the circumstances or the beyond the scope of the arrest. It's like fucking your cops try to escalate shit all the time. All the time. And it's huge. That's what people don't get. You can literally, for everyone who wants to just blatantly support the blue, you, John Q. citizen who loves the cops, who flies your blue line flag and wears your t-shirt and your Punisher logo and all this shit, you just gonna come across one cop one day who you didn't use your turn signal when you changed lanes. You can be killed because you didn't comply or because you didn't exit the vehicle when the cop told you, step out of the car, please. Why? Oh, I just didn't use a turn signal. I didn't get stopped for it. You can die at the hands of a cop because you didn't fucking follow the law, and they're massively protected.
Yep, and I think what's happening is it's actually going to turn around because I can name case after case after case. There's actually a Texas prosecutor. He's actually dropping the death penalty against the man who actually shot at police during a no-knock raid, which I think these no-knock raids and even these federal adoption cases, they are examples of police officers using what I call the presumption of competence based on their authority or their position to do things that are just blatantly unconstitutional or just flat out just morally wrong.
Yeah, at the same time, too, 90%, no, not 90%, 100% 100% of the no-knock warrants we did were for drugs. I'll ask this. Who are they hurting? When you think about it, you do a CI saw, you'll get a CI saw warrant. Confidential informant does a drug buy twice. You do all the paperwork, take it to a judge. Judge isn't even fucking looking at you when she's at her desk. She's filling out her own paperwork, listening to you. You tell her what happened. The warrant is writ up. Then you go before her, outside of her chambers, in front of everybody. You repeat the same damn shit. She signs off the search warrant. It's a fucking joke of a process. So then you wait. You do the whole no-knock warrant is this. Police department. And then you wait, you count to 5. Well, they didn't answer. Then you ram the door. Yeah, you ram in the door. You go right in. We've done it several times. And for drugs, it's like, okay, when you really think about it, who the fuck? Okay, if somebody is kidnapped, somebody's being raped in some home, or they're being chained to a basement, you find out something like that, you kick the fucking door in. But when it comes down to something like drugs, I have a problem with that.
Yeah. And this one was actually botched. I think they entered the wrong home. So even if it was for that, their tactics fell through, and they ended up just hitting some random. There was actually one in, I believe it was Chicago. Where they hit. I think she was a congresswoman, or she was someone that was involved in the local governance, and they kicked in her door.
Yeah, she does. Local government, she deserves. She's probably a Democrat. No, I appreciate that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Yep. Sorry for bugging you, but
not at all. Not at all. We do this every Wednesday, guys. Cop Talk Live, changing cop culture. Again, I'm not anti-police. I'm pro-police. I'm not pro-individual cop. We have a lot of fucking work to do on there. Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody. Maybe it's short and sweet tonight. 201. Oh, did I call you 201? I mean, hang on one second. I'm on more. Oh, 201. I'll give you one more call. One more try.
Hello.
Hey, well, we're live. Sorry, I missed your call twice.
Yes, Dominic, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Good. I love the show. Love what you're doing. Former LEO myself. I agree with, most of what you say. Of course, some things we could disagree on. But
I'm fine with that. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people who I don't have all the answers. I just have a big fucking mouth. And I appreciate when people, they disagree with me, because it gives me pause. I guess I'm like this. When it's all how somebody comes to me. When somebody comes to me like a piece of shit, I don't want to hear what they have to say. But when somebody comes to me exactly the way you do, now I want to hear exactly what you have to say that you disagree with me, because I might learn something. So yeah, I have value in disagreements.
And I do, Mayor Koch years ago said, if you agree with me on everything I believe in, I think there's something wrong with you, right? So, his opponents. But I do agree with you. Now, the qualified immunity, I don't like the whole no-knock thing for everything. On a local level, yes. Most of them are, drug dealers, hold them weight, whatever. But then when we move over to the ATF and their no-knock raid, look how many of them have gone awry and how many innocent people have been killed. Now, I think that's where I draw the line. Maybe I guess on a federal level, but on a local level. But here we go again. It's that the law enforcement has both sides of the argument covered, right?
Do you think it's because Street Cop does more? They have more of a. Like, everybody worships the fucking feds. Well, for the most part, they're pencil pushers, right? They do some big stuff. One of my closest friends in Academy mate, he's DEA. He's been in there. So we're on the same department, 2 years into it. He gets hired with the DEA. He's been with them since. So, and he does some serious shit, but he doesn't do patrol all the time like we used to and this and that shit. Do you think that it's a possibility that that the federal agents, they don't have their finger on the pulse of the community the way that the street cop does, so they are greater prone to error when it comes to exercising bigger warrants that they do?
100%. I was New York City Housing Police. We were the largest community policing force in New York City. You're on a foot post, you're in a housing project, you're in a community, you're on the ground with the people day in, day out, so you got to feel for everything, the culture, who's who, the name, where you can go, where you can't go, where the feds come in, like stormtroopers, they have that superiority kind of complex. Oh, yeah. They come in, they're kicking doors, they don't want to hear anything, they take a little bit of input from you. Now, things may have changed, but Yeah, I do agree with that. That, these guys are coming in like gangbusters, and, what do you do? And, when you try to warn them, hey, listen, don't hit this apartment now, or don't hit this house now. Wait a little while, because, for whatever reason, there might be family there. This guy, he might, I don't know, dip out at maybe 2 a.m. It's like, and I hate to go back and forth, it's like Waco, right? When they wanted to go in and get David Koresh, they could have had him going into town anytime they wanted to.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, we did have, there was like only 3 or 4 times where we had a warrant and the guy left the premises, and it was so much easier because you get him on a traffic stop instead. So yeah, you're right.
And I texted you about qualified immunity. It was Bill Barr, Trump's last Attorney General. He fought for qualified immunity for Lon Horiuchi. He murdered Vicky Weaver on Ruby Ridge. However anybody feels about that situation, he fired the shot. He, shot Vicky Weaver in the head. She was holding her toddler in both arms, and he killed her. Barr successfully fought for qualified immunity, and it was after that same FBI agent, his other agents and ATF agents around who were with him that day, testified that he initiated gunfire into the Waco compound that started the whole firefight, and then afterwards, those ATF agents and FBI agents redacted their statements, and they were allowed to do that. And that FBI agent, he would go, 2 high-profile instances in American history, and he, got to retire because he got qualified immunity twice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then you get the people who actually do the job the right way and they get shit on. Now, I appreciate that. And I thank you. I appreciate your views, your support, and your disagreement. I value that tremendously. So thanks.
Dominic, thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do. You're an important part of this community and this country, because if your opposing voice isn't out there, we have, and I texted before, it's like there's a Stockholm syndrome like attitude amongst the citizenry. My wife is currently in law enforcement, and it's amazing how people just automatically perceive the police to be right and always corrected no matter what they do. And everybody makes mistakes. I'm not going to crap on all cops, but there are a lot of good guys out there. But to the point of everything you say, the standards, the training, everything has become so horrible. I mean, just absolutely poor. For example, my wife's agency, I don't want to mention it, they take a lot of law enforcement guys out of the jails. So they want you to kind of go through the jails first. You don't have to, but it is an important first step. Well, now they're putting people in uniform. They're having kind of like, like a week's worth of class. They put them in uniform, put them in work in the jails, and then like a month later, they put them through the academy after they've been on for about a month. And, obviously, the dropout rate is somewhere around 75 to 80%. So they can never hire enough people.
Yep.
They're just not trained properly. They don't know what to expect. And I think it was you who said one time years ago, when you get on this job, if you are not prepared to take a life at an instant, at a moment, at any moment, you shouldn't have that job. Not that we look for that.
No, you have to be comfortable with the fact I am capable of the violence of killing another human being. I don't want it. I pray every day it never fucking happens, but I am good with doing it, and I will train for that. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, yes, sir. It's a massive compliment coming from you. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for your call.
No, yeah, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, guys, that's Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday. If you're supporting the content in the channel, go check out Cop Talk Live. YouTube channel, Rumble, if that's your bag, or Spotify. Support the channel. Everywhere there's a link that you're watching or listening where you can click on PayPal, Cop Talk Live. Support what we're doing. Help us get the message out. Buy my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. It's available at Amazon, WordsMatterPublishing.com, and Barnes & Noble. Share the videos, read the articles, comment, let me know what you think, hit the thumbs up, and subscribe to our channels. Other than that, I'm all about changing cop culture for the betterment. I truly believe that these men and women out there are the fucking greatest human beings on the planet for the choices they make to do this profession. I just question a lot of your intent because you don't know who the fuck you are doing this job in the first place. So I will be the villain. I will be the bad guy that you hate. You can't stand my mouth. You can't stand who the fuck I am, so that you will show me the fuck up and be a better cop than I ever could have dreamt to be in your career. Other than that, guys, have a great damn night. Be safe.